Great. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of the Wrights of Spring Grappler combo platter. I'm here today with Molly Rosen, who wrote VIP, which has already premiered, but her next showing is May 31st at 2 p.m. Is that right?
Yes, 2 p.m. Central.
Central Time, yes. Awesome. So, Molly, how are you doing during quarantine?
I'm doing okay. It is hot in Ohio now, and I'm kind of in summer mode, which is a little bit goofy of me because it's not time yet.
I understand. Are you in Cleveland?
Yeah, with my family.
Oh, that's great. How has it been have you been home the entire quarter?
Yeah, I came home like pretty quick because we didn't know how much time I'd have to get home after a certain
Absolutely.
point. So
Yeah. How has writing been in a family environment?
it's been really hard. Um, Usually in Chicago, I do my best writing like in my apartment, so it's not like I miss like going places to write. But like this is the room where I wrote like all my angsty poems in high school.
Yeah.
And so putting on my like serious writer hat here is like sort of bizarre. And there's always like, oh, like we're watching this new Hulu show, come down and watch with us. And I'm like, no, I'm actually still doing work. I'm always doing work.
Oh my God. So you finished up VIP while you were home,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And will you tell us a little bit about what it is?
Yeah, so VIP is a play about this 16-year-old girl named Olivia, and she wins a contest to go to New York City and meet her pop star idol, Angelica, um, which works out great for her because it has always been her dream to be famous and be part of that world. And then once she gets there, it becomes about her trying to insinuate herself into the world of Angelica, and her fame and her life, and kind of the the following incidents that occur in their lives.
That's so fun. I really didn't know much about your play, but I'm going to see it on May 31st. I'm really excited. I've heard really good things. What was your inspiration for it? What made you want to write about this subject?
So at the very beginning of this past school year, I was super obsessed with the Carolyn Calloway story. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but she's basically this Instagram influencer, um, who kind of went super viral for like being a scam artist
Oh,
this
yeah.
past fall. So I was super obsessed with that story for like a good 3 weeks. And I was thinking about fame just like a lot, and like what it means to be famous and the things people do to get famous. Um, and then I was thinking about, I had all these notes in my notebook about the way that we remember the past and the way that it's much easier to remember now because everything we do is recorded on iPhones. Um, and so originally it was a play about a pop star's past coming back to haunt her because of like childhood home videos. Um, and then over time, it slowly morphed into what it is now with other characters that I felt needed to be in the world, and the narrative becoming a lot clearer to me. But it started with the notion of like fame.
That's awesome. So this all began in what, September?
Yeah,
So you've been writing it for an entire school year now?
yeah,
How
full
does
baby.
how does it feel to have had your first play reading?
it was it's super bizarre, honestly. Like, I kind of forgot that most people don't know how it ends.
Okay.
I'm like
Yeah.
so sick of it, right? Because I'm like, ugh, I know what's coming. Like I have read this play 9,000 times. Um, but like everyone, my friends were texting me like, oh my God, like what's happening right now? And I was like, oh, right. We, the most of the world isn't so sick of this world. So I definitely learned a lot about what needs to change before the next reading. It's always so nice to have fresh eyes and ears who aren't like so indoctrined into the thing.
Yeah, totally. So, do you think that your writing style has changed over the years at DePaul? Because I remember your debutante play, and it was awesome.
Thank you.
And it was still like about like teenage girls, pretty much, right?
Yeah, I think that definitely the core of what I'm interested in has remained the same. I love a good coming of age, at any age. Last year, my play was mostly 20 somethings, but I still called it a coming of age. Um, but my style has definitely changed just because I had not written plays really before I started at DePaul. I did a lot of other kinds of creative writing. So just like structurally speaking, I've definitely improved, I would say. But yeah, I would say like girlhood is still for me a big part of it.
Yeah. And would you consider this a young adult uh, play, theater?
Um, I wouldn't call it TYA, for sure. It's a little bit edgy, I will say. I thought it was edgier than it was. There's like a lot of drugs in it, but some of the one of the responses on my feedback form, someone wrote, "Is cocaine the hardest drug they do? Is that what's so dangerous about this world?" And I was like, "Oh, do they need to be doing harder drugs?" So that's
When
something.
was this feedback form in class or?
No, that I made a Google Drive form for
Oh,
after my
after
reading
the
last night.
reading? That's so
Yeah,
funny.
so it was like all anonymous.
What kind of other comments have you gotten from that that you want to share?
Most of it's really useful stuff. People asking like technical questions about like how this 16-year-old is functioning in the world. People, kind of, I got a lot of responses about this one relationship that developed at the end with Olivia's mom that a lot of people thought was interesting. So that's something I want to play up more. Um, I don't know if there's anything else funny. People are just
Yeah,
really really helpful, and I appreciate that people like wrote like full paragraphs and stuff to help me out, which is
that's really awesome.
yeah.
So you mentioned the relationship of the girl and her mom. What is your favorite relationship in your play, if you have one, or character?
That's a good question.
I know they're your babies, so.
Yeah. Well, my favorite character to write is not my favorite character in the play. It's just the most
Okay.
fun to write, and that would be Josh. Because he's basically just like sweet, cute, handsome comedic
Oh,
relief.
okay, good.
So whenever I'm like sad, I just kind of write him some lines so I can feel better. But I would say the relationship that um, this is maybe a baby spoiler, but I'll say it.
Okay.
The relationship that I think is the most interesting one to me is between Angelica and Jennifer, who's Olivia's mom.
Okay. Cool. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm even more excited than I have been. So, what was your favorite part of the process about, I guess, from start to now, um, in developing VIP?
My favorite part of writing any play is putting the first draft together, because we write out of order in playwriting class. So I'm just kind of always bringing in scenes. And then there comes a point like halfway through where there's a draft due and you have to just kind of look at everything you've written over the past couple of months and put it in order. And then you obviously there's gaps and there's stuff that needs to be changed, but it's like holding it in my hands for the first time always feels so cool.
I love that. Did
Yeah.
anything have to change when we had to switch to Zoom, basically?
I did not change anything for Zoom. I maybe should have. I've been listening to some of the second year podcast plays and have been super impressed with how little um, stage direction they need and how much I can get through the dialogue. Um, but I was pretty committed to keeping my play whole because ideally it has a life beyond quarantine.
Yes.
And I didn't want to make changes that I was going to have to undo one day. So,
Yeah. No, I totally get that because this is in the running for main stage next year.
yeah.
That's so exciting. I always love that part. So whenever your favorite part, what has been your least favorite part of this process?
God. That's a good question too. I would say trying to figure out the ending of the play. Um,
Okay.
really like in January, I would be writing and I would be like, I have no idea how this is gonna end. I don't know what I'm writing to. I'm just writing scenes and hoping they lead me somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer was always, you don't need to know how it ends. It'll come out. And I was like, but I want to know because I'm a planner and I like to have a plan. And then I wrote like thousands of pages of brainstorming notes for the end. And I was like, maybe like this person does this thing, and everyone was like, I don't think so. Like, okay, this person does this other thing with this other person, and it's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, how did we get there? So that was definitely like a long process, and it didn't have a concrete ending until like March.
Yeah. You mentioned towards the beginning the influencer who kind of kickstarted this for you. Have there been any other inspirations, like shows that you've watched or whatever, that really fueled this play?
I try really hard not to because I'm so scared I'm gonna plagiarize.
Yeah, I get that.
There's been a couple of things. All About Eve is a movie a lot of people have compared the play to. The Ashley O episode of Black Mirror.
Oh my God.
And I always just, when people say that stuff to me, I like take it in and I process what they're comparing it to, and then I don't watch the thing.
Oh, good.
Because the only way for me to ensure that I'm not stealing is just to have no idea what the thing is like.
Totally.
So I've been listening to a lot of pop music, and like Lady Gaga has been like the way that she looks at fame and stuff, but I try not to let other stuff like get into my head because I'm so scared.
No, that's a very real concern, I think. So I think that a big question that I have is, well, what do you want the people to know going into your play? Are there any like precursors, not trigger warnings or anything, but like things that you feel like people need to know?
The main thing for me, honestly, is just I want people to know that it's still a work in progress. I think within our theater school community, that's pretty established. Yeah. But I had a lot of I'm lucky because we're on Zoom to have had family and friends from like all over the country tuning in, which I'm really appreciative of. But I just it's so weird that there's now this like idea of the play out in the world when I'm already making cuts and changes, you know, between yesterday and Sunday. So that's something that I'm like really trying to establish, is that she's not done and she's never going to be done. I don't know, in terms of the play itself, I think it's pretty palatable. There's drug use and alcohol use, sure, and, you know, a lot of like backstabbing and fighting, but I don't think any of it is too intense at this point.
Yeah. So I wonder, what is your editing style like? Like, what process do you go through?
A lot of stress and crying. I go through and I implement all of the notes that I took either during rehearsal or during the reading, and just like so that I can do it while it's fresh in my brain, and I don't let myself change anything I didn't already take notes on, because I will get distracted and rewrite whole scenes. I think the next step this round is just cutting. The play ran really long yesterday, and I would like it to not do that anymore. So I'm going to try to cut Act 1 down by like 15 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
Which will hopefully look like cutting chunks of scenes and also just a lot of superfluous dialogue within other scenes.
Yeah.
I do a lot of repeating myself because I think that's how the characters talk, but it's only the way they talk because I told them to. So I can really be a lot stricter with myself. And then I usually jump around. I'll pick a scene and I'll go over it 6 times until I'm satisfied with it, and then I'll pick a different scene. And then once I'm done with that, I'll do the whole play again until I decide I'm done for that night.
Yeah. So how has this whole quarantine thing affected your view on theater in general?
I just love theater so much. I've been to a couple of Zoom plays beyond the TTS scope, like real Zoom plays. And it's been so bittersweet for me, because it's just so much harder for me to feel open to it, like sitting in my bed on my computer. I'm learning that a good script and good acting and good design and good direction are very important to me, but also liveness is like really just make it or break it for a play for me.
So you're not too inclined to do any more Zoom things after this.
No.
Yeah.
I would be happy if
Me
Wrights of
either.
Spring was the last Zoom theater I ever did. Yeah, for sure.
Oh God, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Um, what kind of things have you seen that were effective that you would like to implement if you did have to restart this process for Zoom and make it more, I'm not making sense, but if you had to really tailor it to Zoom, what do you think you would have done, or to another format?
Yeah, I think like I said, I think relying less on stage directions um would have been a good call. I also think um I don't know, I feel pretty lucky because Dylan Cohen directed my play and she did a pretty incredible job of trying to make it a good Zoom play and not a poor excuse for a staged reading was basically the word she used. But I will say I watched there was a reunion of Significant Other by Josh Harmon
Okay.
that they did on like YouTube Live that they'd filmed over Zoom. And that production did a really good job of kind of like fudging with like the lines. So it would be like, here, I'm handing you my phone, you know. And it felt a little cheesy, but it's kind of a cheesy play, so it kind of works.
Sure.
Um, so I think with a little more time, something like that could be cool and can kind of make it feel more like world building rather than two-dimensional.
For sure, yeah. So now that it's accessible to all people right now in the world, who are you mainly? Who's your target audience?
Honestly, I would say TTS.
Yeah,
It's really nice to have family and friends and stuff come see it, but also there's a level to which they can give feedback and a level to which they can't, to be totally frank. So it's always nice when people who are trained in looking at shows critically are able to like watch them and offer commentary and stuff. And also thinking about like in a regular year, like it would just be like our building of people. So it's kind
yeah,
of like how much can I make it a TTS thing still? Um, I mean, it would be cool if like Paula Vogel wants to watch it.
yeah.
I keep texting my friends and I'm like, it's free to tweet Paula Vogel and ask her to watch my play.
Maybe. Why
They're
not?
not going to charge me for that, so that might happen if I get a little bit more self-confident one night. Maybe that'll just pop
It'll
up on
it'll
Twitter.
happen just out of the blue. I'll find that tweet on my
Yeah,
timeline.
please give me a retweet. I need it so bad.
We will make her know what is
Yeah.
happening. So, with all of the things that you've learned this quarter, is there anything upcoming that we should know about?
Like project wise?
Yeah.
Oh, not yet. My play again on Sunday, and then finals are gonna happen,
Yeah.
and then hopefully I'm just gonna chill. I feel like I've been so bad at chilling because work and home are the same thing. I will shout out. Oh, I'll shout out. I'm interning at the literary department at Victory Gardens. I've been there since
Okay.
December, and we are doing the Ignition Festival of New Plays. Um,
Cool.
Very exciting. 4 new plays starting June 18th, and then there's one every Thursday through mid-July. Um, and I'm working alongside, a lot of the Victory Garden staff on that, so that'll be really fun. Um, Other than that, I'm maybe going to write a screenplay this summer and just let nobody read it and then go back to school in the fall and pretend it didn't happen.
No, that's great. That's great. So, we're almost out of time,
Oh, wow.
but I do have one more question,
Okay.
which might turn into like maybe another question, but who knows? Um, so what do you hope for in the future of your play?
Oh, on my end, I really want to tighten it up, solidify the relationships, solidify the stakes for everybody. I think that's something that wasn't totally clear in last night's reading. Um, and I just want to keep working with other people on it. Now that I've had it in a rehearsal room, I like really don't want to go back to like working on it alone. because I working with directors and actors is just the most fun thing, and like hearing their thoughts on it. So hopefully in one way or another that happens to me again, because I just like sit in rehearsal rooms and I'm like, their brains are just the greatest. So I would love that to keep happening.
That's great. What do you think? Do you think that the collaboration dynamic is different over Zoom than in a rehearsal room?
Yeah, I would say a little. Dylan and I have been trying to make sure that we do check-ins at the beginning of every rehearsal, and we take breaks, because even if you're in your own home, like it's still nice to get up and go get water or walk around or whatever. Um, but it's definitely, it's weird to not be able to like whisper to my director
Yeah.
when I want something and I'm scared to like say it. That's kind of like something that it's been taking a lot of getting used to, is like there's no side conversations, there's no like getting distracted by something someone's doing and chatting with them about it and having to pull yourself back to the work.
Yeah.
So that's like, yeah, it's definitely a learning curve.
Yeah. So you're excited for next year?
Yeah, I mean, anyone in my class who gets MPS is
Oh,
exciting,
yeah.
because their plays are all my plays now, because we've been working together for 9 months on them. And anything that happens to this play will be exciting, because I mean, it has such a far way to go still. So anything that can happen to it will be a cool another step. So
That's really awesome. I am so excited to see it,
yay.
which is, again, for anyone who's watching, May 31st at 2 p.m. Central Time.
Wrightsofspring.com/plays to
Repeat
find
that.
it. Wrightsofspring.com/plays.
Awesome. And if you all are so inclined, you can go on that website that Molly just mentioned and check out other playwrights. We have freshmen through seniors up, all doing their own kind of form of Rites of Spring this year. So it's really cool. Thank you, Molly, so much for talking to me.
Thank you, Nina. This was so fun.
Yes, thank you.